Welcome to the Broadish show. Super excited for this episode. I'm Felicia Madison.
I'm Jocelyn Chia.
I'm Hollie Harper.
I'm Dhaya Lakshminarayanan.
And this is the Broadish show. Super excited. We launched our show Broadish.
Oh my God. Okay, Felicia, my dad spent his whole contact list on our show. So now I have these 70-year-old aunties and uncles. In Singapore, we call anyone older than us auntie and uncle. So I have these 70-year-old aunties and uncles watching my shit. Like, I don't feel like I can be myself. Like, I talk about wet ass pussy. I talk about whipping guys. I don't know if I can do this.
Wow, we're number one in Singapore, guys.
Hey,
Among aunties and uncles.
they know, aunties and uncles, they know all about that WAP. They know all about it.
They know about that one.
They got here. They know all about that.
Yeah, only that guy from last week, whatever his name was, we can't even remember. He doesn't know about WAP.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro.
Shapiro doesn't know about WAP, only him. Well, today we're going to talk about, are we still talking about this? And I'm not saying this in a negative way like we shouldn't be. We're saying this in, I can't believe this is still going on. Another shooting, another police shooting, Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I mean, I'm speechless, which is not great for a talk show. I'm sorry. What do you guys, I mean, Hollie, I know you're going to go for it.
Well, what's crazy is that, to be honest with you, like, it's become like Groundhog's Day so much that when I first saw it, I have to admit that for like the first whole day and a half, I just kind of was like, no, this is not happening. And I just could not take it in. And then by like in the middle of like Monday night, all of a sudden I was like, all right, yes, this did definitely happen. And I really looked at it, and the story gets crazier and crazier as it goes on. And I just feel like we need to defund the police reform, whatever it is. There needs to be a whole reformation of PDs and how they relate to people, because this is not it.
And he was shot in the back was it 7 or 8 times?
Seven times.
Seven times in the back in front of his children. Oh. So even if we hold the police accountable, who is going to pay for all of the rehab that man needs? Because some of the reports say that he's paralyzed from the waist down. That's a tremendous amount of physical rehab. And those children will have PTSD for the rest of their lives. Who is going to care for them mentally and emotionally? And if he can't work because he's paralyzed, how are they going to have a life? So these shootings, yes, police have to be accountable, but where is the support for these families that have to go through this? And it's not just over next week or next month or after the case is over. It's for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, something tells me there'll be a GoFundMe page for him and he'll be fine. I remember last time there was a shooting and we were doing some events to raise money. Mm-hmm. And they were like, please don't send any more money. We're being overwhelmed. But again, it's just not stopping. And I'm going to share with you guys, I think I shared with you on social media, the video of this guy that was complaining about them teaching Black Lives Matter in school. Mm-hmm. We'll play it now for you.
Greetings, Patriots. My name is Matt Moss. I am in East Los Angeles, California. I'm a conservative. I love my country. I love my president. And I had to bring a very urgent message to you. I'm really asking for help for a lot of you on the conservative side. I wanted to share day 4 what my daughter is being taught in her school over here in East LA. You got the anti-fascist, you have the Black Panthers Power to the People logo, or the Chinese CCP communist logo. This is communism. This is Marxism being taught in our schools. This is the 4th day. I don't have a lot of allies out here. Thank God for all of you on Twitter, but I'm begging you, Donald Trump, Scott Pressler, anybody who will listen to me, anyone out there, please seriously help me. Spread this message around. This is what's being taught in the schools. I actually talked to the principal today. She was a very nice lady. I'm not going to say her name. And she said Black Lives Matter is working with the school. She told me flat out, the school is working with BLM. This should frighten anyone and everybody. Ridiculous. Please retweet, share, At Real Donald Trump, please, I need your help. Please come to East LA. Seriously, you have no idea. This is ridiculous. I'm an open heart surgery survivor, as you guys can see. I don't need to be dealing with this. My kids should be going to school and learning about, American history and good things, not dividing the country. This is ridiculous. Please share and retweet. Thank you.
It's this mentality that is the problem. And I thought, I guess it's not going to be a quick fix, but I thought we were over this. I thought there was going to be change. And yet, the world is thicker than I thought.
I couldn't even understand his complaint. You mean he has a problem with schools working with Black Lives Matter? I don't understand how some people think.
There's so many people who say on the, in different fringe movements, they're like Black Lives Matter is terrorist, or they're part of Antifa, or they're a fringe group, or they're inciting violence. There's a lot of language around discrediting Black Lives Matter.
Oh, I see.
When simply it is just saying this person's life is a human life. That's all it's saying. And then people are like, oh no, we cannot humanize them. They're terrorists. So
the ones that bug me are the ones who are like, oh no, well, what about my life? My life matters too. Are you saying I don't matter?
Yeah.
Get over yourself.
So yeah, that's exactly what we're saying. That's what we're doing. We went all this way to just target you. That's it.
Yeah, it's all about you.
It's all you, Barb. Just Barb. Just Barb. Just Barbara. We don't care about you, Barbara. That's all. No, but the thing about Black Lives Matter is funny is that if you've been following some of the things that people have been saying about the protests, they say Black Lives Matter stands for burn, loot, and murder.
Oh,
they say, right? BLM is burn, loot, and murder. But a lot of people in Kenosha have been on Twitter saying that we're here in every instance of escalation, whether it's looting a business, burning a car, defacing property. They're seen by young white protesters that are not with the crowd, which to me means planted there. There's a lot of people that really believe that these people are there planted to make hell and make Black Lives Matter look bad. Now, I do know that there are some people that are looting and that are doing bad, and that's not helpful. That's not helpful whatsoever. But I've seen, even when protests were right here on my block, the weeks after George Floyd, there were kids in the neighborhood that were coming up to us who were like, here, come, we're going to burn it down. We're going to storm the precinct tonight. And they were white kids that were not from around here. And I don't know everybody that lives around here, but I recognize the teenagers, white, Black, Spanish. I recognize them. And these were kids that were not from this area. So there's that happening at Black Lives Matter protests.
Getting back to the shooting, I was watching the video that's been going around. They show the video that happened before of the fight, and one of the girls that was filming it was yelling at her mother, like, get away, stop. Like, she knew that there was going to be trouble. And then Jacob walked away and went into the car. And the argument that people say is, it was a police scuffle and he wasn't listening and he was escaping. And that's why, he got shot. And I would say that if it was me and my husband or whatever, and we had a fight and he walked to his car and went to the door, he wouldn't have been shot.
Right. And also there's a police rule that a fleeing suspect cannot be shot. You can only shoot them if they are attacking you and your life is in danger. But a fleeing suspect is not intimidating or attacking you. So when your husband walks away, he's like, bye, Felicia. He ain't attacking you.
And to me, I just kept thinking to myself, like, he was there, he was trying to stop a fight, right, Felicia?
Yeah, it was domestic violence. But who knows when the police showed up, so they might not have known that.
Okay, but you would think that they would suss some things out before shooting somebody. You know what I mean? Like, everything on a situation, you gotta know, like, who the players are. You know what I mean? Like,
7 times. He got shot 7 times.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, and it was like, I read that when he was walking away, he was going to his car to tell his babies in the car everything was going to be okay.
Oh, God. Oh.
So the car door was open and he was going toward his car to be like, you guys, it's going to be okay. And then he got shot. So,
well, we're still talking about this. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's just a shame.
And that his father, he comes from a long line of activists.
No.
Oh, really?
Jacob Blake.
No.
Yeah, his grandfather was an activist who helped lead a march in Evanston, Illinois for fair housing, against discrimination. He wanted fair housing. And yeah, he comes from a line of activists. Activism is in his family. So,
well, the thing that's important to remember is that anytime these extrajudicial killings or, you know, attempted killings happen, there is this kind of impulse to discredit the person who is the victim. And so that happens in like every single time. Like Trayvon Martin might have smoked weed once, you know, and that's like, oh, wow, he's a drug addict. Or, you know, George Floyd, he was using a counterfeit bill. And now we don't even know if that was really the case. So it's important to just track this, because what will happen next is people will start discrediting the victim here and saying, oh, well, he was doing this, or he has this history of that. But what is really important is for us to look at the history of these officers. Have they been involved in these altercations before? Have they said things on or off the record that dehumanize Black people? Have they had domestic violence things in their household? Because all of these make them more susceptible to firing their firearm without any provocation. So instead of profiling the victim, we should be profiling these officers to see if they have a clean record.
And that's such a good point, because especially in rape cases, the victim is always discredited. And I thought maybe it was a woman's issue, but these are men too being discredited.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember the William Kennedy Smith rape case like 30 years ago. I'll never forget. It was like she was on the stand, and I'll never forget, they asked her what she was wearing at the party. I'll never forget her response. She said women's clothing. I was like, but no, you're right. They do this thing, like there was a hashtag right after Michael Brown died about if I die, what, I don't know, but it was like, if I die, like what picture will the press use? Do you know what I mean? It's like, if someone dies, are they going to use my graduation photo, or are they going to use some photo I'm coming home from a party at 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, what photo are they going to use? So,
well, I actually
portray the victim.
On a side note, I read the obituaries, and I get really annoyed when someone dies and they put a young photo of themselves.
You're like, that was not Botox, and I know that.
Yeah, I'm like, a really young person died, and then I find out they're like 92. I'm like, that's just not fair.
Yeah,
like,
that's funny that you read the obituaries. Why do you do that? Are you looking for someone, like an enemy, to like have passed away?
I do that too, though. I read obituaries.
It's my sports section.
You ever read it and you recognize someone? You're like, what?
Yeah.
Wait, Hollie, you read them too?
Yeah, I do. I read small town obituaries. I don't. It's really weird.
But you read it because you might know someone.
Yeah, like I'll read my hometown. If it's another small town that seems interesting, I'll look through it, because a lot of times they're really interesting and personal.
Instead of the obituaries, I like to read variety of whose shows got canceled, and that's the same feeling.
It's a Hollywood.
Okay, we're going to move on, guys. Okay, last week we had the DNC, which was Do Not Care. We don't care because, you know, he had us at hello. Let's face it, he doesn't have to say anything. This year we have Really Not Caring, the RNC.
Really Not Caring.
So what we're concerned about, what I'm concerned about, is the whole postal catastrophe. Can the post office really handle and all the volume that's coming through? And is Trump and their government going to really make a big deal about this not being a fair election?
Well, they are. They're going to say it's unfair to the very end while they sabotage it. I'm just kind of like, okay, we feel like we don't have enough, like the post office doesn't have enough to deliver all the ballots. And there's a lot of people out of jobs. Seems kind of like, jobs at the post office. Like,
yeah, right.
I don't know. Like, it seems like a predicate subject agreement to me.
And I also read that because of the pandemic, the postal service, they've actually lost a lot of business. Their business is declining. People are home. They're not, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And so they actually can handle an influx. But like I've heard they were removing post-op boxes from the street, making it difficult. And not to defend Trump, I mean, I've lost plenty of mail.
Yeah.
I'm not relying on it that much. I'm nervous. I can't believe in today's day and age, with all the technology out there, that they can't figure out a better system.
Well, I feel like the only way to save the post office is they need a rebrand. Like when you think about sexy movies, it's always like the pizza guy that comes to the door. Why can't it be the postal man? Like why can't his socks be sexy and he's like, I have something for you? Like, why don't we make it more
Special
appealing?
delivery.
Oh my God, porn for post.
You've got mail.
Mail.
Why not? So maybe if we
Got
make
mail.
it enticing in some way that people will rush to save it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I remember like a month ago, everyone was like, if you just buy $11 worth of stamps, we could all save the post office. And I was like, okay, like what day is this happening? Like I thought it was going to be like a thing. But then
Oh,
it
yeah,
didn't
I
happen.
it was a thing, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
now I just hope there are no mailmen out there called Chad.
Why is that?
Because that was the whole controversy with
The hanging chads, yeah.
hanging
Oh
Chad.
my God. I was like, is she talking about the hanging chads? And what was her face? Catherine something? Remember that? Was Bush's sister-in-law or something? Catherine?
She was was she the attorney general in Florida at the time?
Yeah. What was
And-
it? Remember she had the lipstick?
What's that?
Remember she had the lipstick? It was always kind of off and crooked.
I don't remember her lipstick. I remember
That was
her-
a Karen comment.
That was not. And I was not even looking at you till you said something.
I do. So in Bush v. Gore, like in retrospect, even though Bush and Cheney were pretty horrible, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a much more fair election because everything was rigged in Florida. Jeb Bush was governor. Catherine Harris was the either attorney general or whatever she was. Like, and then the Supreme Court was stacked. Al Gore was just like, well, I don't think I'll contest this, and then he just fell away. But think about it now. There's gerrymandering. There's long lines to vote. Black and brown people are being prohibited from voting. There's all this kind of election interference that's going to happen to prevent Democrats, people of color, different kinds of people from voting. And if we can't vote by mail during COVID, I just think it's going to be one of those situations that Joe Biden could win the popular vote. He could even win the Electoral College, but the number of votes that are counted will be in favor of Trump. That's what I'm afraid of.
Well, I mean, that's a real fear. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like when they keep talking about this October surprise, there's an October surprise, an October surprise. You guys heard about this October surprise? I feel like, surprise, he's going to have something really horribly corrupt for us that we're not going to be able to fix in time for the election.
You don't even need that. Like I posted recently on Twitter, it was a headline that said, Biden leads by a lot, landslide vote. And I'm like, when did I hear this before? And I posted Clinton leading by a lot. Yeah.
Right.
You just don't know. And, getting back to the popular vote, it's not an indicator of who should win. I mean, there's a reason, and people will say that are super involved in politics that Trump knew not to go to Los Angeles. It was a waste of his time to go there. And that's why, and that's a ton of votes. So of course he didn't win the popular vote. If the popular vote was an indication or a way for him to win, he would have gone there and tried to win more votes. So it really annoys me when people talk about the popular vote. It's not, yes, it's an indication of who voted, but it's not an indicator of who wins and means really nothing.
Well, as someone
That's why I want to do the electoral college system.
Me too. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Like, why would one vote not count as much as one vote against one other vote? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Because
I
the
agree.
wealthy will rule.
I feel as a Californian, people always come to California to raise money, but they know that California will go blue no matter what, and our electoral votes, are the same as any other state. So then it ends up coming down to like these swing states, Florida, maybe Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, like states that there's like a 1% of that population is like, I don't know who I should vote for. Those are the swing voters that people are courting. These are like people who don't inform themselves. They're not active in politics. And then they make up their mind and they're like, I just don't like women. I'm not going to vote for Hillary. So it makes me mad as a Californian that we contribute so much to the U.S. economy. And yet some dum-dum in a swing state who doesn't think about issues affecting the rest of the country really has more power in this election than my people do.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair. And like I asked somebody years ago when social media like first really started around, Facebook, 2009, 10, everybody joined in. And we were talking about electoral votes. And I was like, well, why would a state, I'm not sure, but like Minnesota or Montana or Idaho, why would their electoral votes drown out my vote within the popular vote? And they were like, well, because states like Wyoming or whatever will never compete against a state like New York. And I'm like, you shouldn't. You don't have the people.
Yeah.
But what happens is in the cities like New York, LA, Chicago, generally are wealthier people. And then there's an imbalance of money ruling over everyone else. If you gave, New York, LA, and Chicago, and name another city, I don't know, it'd be the rich people ruling in who the president is.
But also,
what's funny is that isn't that how our tax dollars work now within public schools and everything else? Like that's how it works for schools. You don't have those tax dollars, you don't get a good enough school. That's how it works.
And also those larger urban cities have more diversity. Like look at Wyoming. Do they have 3 Indian people in the whole state? They might, but I'm not sure.
No, we'll find all 3 by sundown. All 3.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of them.
But at the same, so these cities that are culturally diverse, that are ethnically diverse, that have people of color, we're being drowned out by places that are largely homogenous in their thinking, in their racial composition. So that's also a huge issue. Like, why is it that people who don't know anything about immigration get to vote for the guy who's like, no more immigrants coming in? And so that's a huge imbalance that doesn't represent America.
Absolutely.
Well, we got on postal service real quick.
The whole reason why we have the electoral college system was because it was thought that we couldn't rely on the average intelligence of the people, right? So they had to have these like people who can override a vote if needed. So we're going by intelligent and education, then maybe we should just let the intelligent, educated ones vote and then let the dum-dums just farm apples.
Well, they tried to do that. They tried to do this during Reconstruction in the South. They would say that you have to take this test in order to be eligible for vote. But that disproportionately affected Black people because Black people were kept purposefully illiterate or penalized for learning how to read during, the Jim Crow and then during the slavery era. So if we do have some kind of litmus test for people to pass, it will end up affecting people of color. And for example, the SAT was started by someone who was a pretty bad racist. And so any of these means tests end up having a bad effect in terms of not being equalizing for Americans. I mean, think about the citizenship test that my parents had to take. I bet Steve Bannon couldn't even pass that test. So we end up having a higher barrier for people of color and immigrants than we do for regular Americans. And somehow they get to vote. And it's hard for the rest of the people to come up to that level.
Well, those tests that they used to make Black people in the South take, those tests were hard. Like they would have them name all of these things and then be like, name the capitals. Name all the Supreme Court justices. Like they were having them name stuff like average Americans be like, huh? What? Like what? I don't.
The ones in dum-dum lands.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, I can't name every Supreme Court justice. I know most of them, but I can tell you right now. Can you guys all name all of the justices?
I can't name the 7 dwarfs.
There's rapist. There's
Newsy, traitor.
Yeah,
don't forget traitor.
There's rapist,
lazy bum-dum.
harasser of Anita Hill. There's that guy.
That's traitor. I call him traitor.
I call him the lazy bum-bum.
Yeah.
Bum traitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holding on for dear life.
Word. Clutcher, RBG, notorious Clutcher. She's holding on.
Yeah.
She's holding on with a prayer, and I don't know, but I'm like every day, pray for RBG. Keep her.
I mean, that's one of my biggest things with Trump possibly getting reelected is our RBG seat. Oh my God, a 6.
Like, okay.
I don't know who I feel more sorry for, Melania or her.
I don't feel sorry for Melania.
She's so out of here as soon as he loses, though. She's going to be like, as soon as he loses, she's going to be like, bye-bye.
Yeah, it's no longer going to be bye, Felicia. It's going to be bye, Dawn.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on in that relationship, but if she is being like abused in some way, I do feel bad for her. But then when I see her being an ardent birther and being so racist against Obama, then all my empathy for her vanishes.
I really don't. It's so funny how people are like, but Melania. I'm like, Melania, what? I remember seeing her on The View pushing those birther. I remember that. And I just watched the video and I was like, wait a minute. She kept going on. Joy Behar kept being like, it's a certificate of live birth. That's how they do it in Hawaii. And she's like, but no, it's not a birth certificate. And it's like, but then Joy had the best comeback. She's like, so anybody born in Hawaii would not be eligible because that's what they get. And to me, it's just like, it's so deeply racist.
Yeah.
If anybody knows history, it's like rolling up on Black folk and asking for their freedom papers was a huge thing. Huge thing. Prove you live here. Prove you're free. No matter what era you're in, there's a way of otherizing Black and brown people, and she just did it along with her husband with the birth certificate.
Right. So I feel like there's something so dangerous about Melania because she, quote, humanizes Donald Trump, and she comes out and she speaks in this very accent that's exciting for middle America. And they're like, look at her. She speaks so eloquently and beautifully, and she speaks 7 languages, and she makes Trump look so great and blah, blah. But the insidious part is that she's making fascism look fashionable. And she's also, she has those racist qualities in her. She just says it in a really palatable way. So what's really interesting is that the standards for Melania are so low. Like, they're just like, if she can put a full sentence together and not start crying, then she's eloquent. But think about Michelle Obama. Like, she hit it out of the park, and the standards for her are so high. Like, she has to be diplomatic, she has to be well-spoken, she has to speak with empathy, she has to be fact-based. So Michelle Obama, the standards for her are so high, and she continues to exceed them. The standards for Melania are so low, and she just stays there. So that's the difference between the standards we have for different kinds of women in America.
I feel bad for Melania. She was just basically a trophy wife, and now she's got to be in the White House. I mean, she did not sign up for this.
Right.
Well, she did because she, by all accounts, she was like a B- or a C+ model. And if you're a model, you can have whatever guy you want. And
You
she
said C-.
Trump, she must have not been a very good model because, she got Donald Trump. Models end up with rock stars or I
know, right?
Successful people. And this is the only thing that she could get. So I don't feel bad for her. She should have focused on her education. This is for the 70-year-old aunties, okay? I'm playing.
It's for the auntie crowd.
She should have tried to be a better model so she could get a better guy. She could be a better trophy wife. But this is who she got. And, she used this to bring her parents over. She has been very, very, she got the Einstein visa, which she's really no Einstein.
But come on now.
So I don't feel sorry for her at all. She got everything she wanted. She knows what this game is about. She's playing it very, very well. And she's getting more benefits than a lot of immigrants who work much harder than she does have ever gotten. Look at Iman. She was a supermodel. She speaks 7 languages. She got David Bowie. That's a prize because Iman's an actually good model.
Daya's starting a dating app for models.
No, Iman.
How to succeed as a model.
Oh my God, Iman is a much better model with a much better husband. So Melania couldn't get like a good one. So
Speaking of Melania did not sign up for this, did any first lady other than Hillary Clinton sign up for this? It's not like we're going on first dates with men going, so do you have presidential intentions?
I don't know. Behind every successful...
You know that these men are on a certain track. Like, aren't they on a certain track when they kind of meet?
Jimmy Carter's a peanut farmer. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Reagan was an actor. You just don't know when these guys suddenly decide to run the world.
I don't know. Behind every successful man is a surprised mother-in-law. You know that expression? I think these women are pushing them along and making them better. But we'll move on because we still have to get to Creep of the Week. So it's back to school time. A lot of people are happy or not so happy. I don't know. I think Olivia Jade, Lori Loughlin's daughter, might be better off going to jail than to USC. These schools are being so strict. They're not letting these kids do anything. It's online learning. Public schools for younger kids, they're having problems delivering meals. Can online education be as good as regular education? What is the answer to all of this?
I don't think it's as good as regular education because it wasn't designed to be this. You know what I mean? But I mean, I don't really know what to do. Like I'm a mom. I have a 13-year-old daughter. I have an 8-year-old son. And it's like in the beginning, like halfway through the summer, my son's school was like, do you want to do remote or do you want to do like a half and half? And we were like, we'll try a half and half. And then by a week later, it was like all remote. Like they just sent an email out saying, we don't have the capacity to do it, blah, blah, blah. It's all remote. My daughters, we thought, oh, well, maybe we'll do like a half and half with her because she's going to a performing arts school. And then we tuned into their Zoom where they were talking to the parents and they were like, yeah, there's no mandatory testing requirements for anybody. And we were like, remote. So it's like, I feel like a lot of parents would love to be able to send their kids to school if it were right, but it's not right.
Yeah, but they're showing now also the long-term psychological effects that are going to happen to these children that are being kept home and not socializing and not experiencing the things that they should be experiencing. At what point do you say, enough's enough? Let's, for college, it's different. I feel like for college, let's send them there. Let's isolate them. Let them all get it. They won't. Seriously, keep them remote learning. They'll all have the herd immunity, and then let them live like within a community, within their life. They're isolated. Like sending them home now is like worse. They're all infected. Let's spread them out all over the world.
That's the thing. I mean, we could sit there and be like, the kids need to go back to school, but it's like, I don't think it's worth infecting your aunt, your uncle, your father, your cousin, and them dying for it. Like, I don't think that's worth it. Like, I'd rather work on getting a vaccine, work on social distancing, work on flattening the curve, but work on making school a better experience. Because we know right now, I don't see an end to COVID right now. I don't see it. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like if we're going to be in this space, can we figure out a way to make it better for the kids?
I have a good idea though, Holly. Why don't we send them to school and when they come home, they have to quarantine in their rooms?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome.
You would love that, Felicia.
Oh, my God.
Right?
Oh, my God.
I feel, my heart really just goes out to the parents because, it's affecting, people's work. People are having to homeschool their kids and they're like, I don't remember calculus. This is why I paid for, like a private school. This is why I'm sending them to the best school that they could get into. I feel really bad for parents that have to kind of take on stuff that's really affecting their health and their life. But also we are hearing more from the immunology standpoint that children are actually big spreaders of coronavirus. There's so much viral load that lives inside of them. So you can be asymptomatic and still have organ damage. And you can be asymptomatic and still have brain damage. The long-term effects of coronavirus are still not known. The way that these asymptomatic spreaders spread the disease is still not known. At first, they thought that kids didn't get it, but now that schools are open in places like Texas and Mississippi, a bunch of kids are getting hit with it. And, they may have long-term psychological impacts because COVID does affect inflammation in the brain, the liver, in other lungs. So we're really thinking of one bad thing versus the other. So do you want them to have, long-term mental PTSD illnesses, or do you want them to have liver, brain, and lung damage? And that's a choice that no parent should have to make, and it's really sad. I just think that if I were a college student, I'd be like, why am I paying $250,000 for Stanford or Princeton or whatever, whereas like Coursera and all of these online learning things have really focused on how to make learning good. Just take a gap year, learn all the calculus that you want to online, and when then school opens up, go join a fraternity, network, and then go get a job. Like, that's what college is really for, not for classes.
Yeah,
but
but
all the relationships.
what happens to all the seniors this year that are applying to college?
I feel so terrible for them because they have to find jobs without the career center. And what ends up going to happen is these seniors who have parents who are well connected will be like, I'll get you a job somewhere. And middle class and other seniors whose parents don't have any influence, they're going to have to keep applying to jobs and get rejected. So it's going to end up being like a real misalignment in our society. Who gets jobs and who gets placement and who doesn't.
Yeah, but my point was, if all the people that were supposed to go to college this year take a gap year, the people that are supposed to go next year, there are going to be no spots for them.
Because everybody be coming back. I get it.
So it's like almost like everyone needs to take a gap year, which actually might not be a bad idea, because I feel like all these kids just should have a gap year to appreciate. Like we always say, I don't think it's our family thing, but education is wasted on the youth. You should wait till you're like 30, then you'll really appreciate college.
True. I'm surprised and impressed that if Dhaya took a gap year, she'd be studying calculus. And whoever uses calculus in real life, this is for the aunties and uncles. Give your kid a break if they can't be good at math. As an Asian kid, I've been tortured enough with math. I haven't used it for a single damn day of my life.
No, let me tell you why calculus is handy. So the pizza problem. Like if you get pizza, like small, medium, and large, they have different prices. A regular topping is $1. A premium topping is $2.50. So if you calculate the price of a medium pizza with 2 regular toppings and 4 extra toppings, that is calculus. And if you've ever ordered pizza, you have used calculus to determine.
You lost me a pizza.
I'm sorry. Those of you who are vegan, you have a different problem that I can't solve.
See, you lost me when you were like, figure out. I was just like, just have my husband pay for this. I need your credit card. Just give me the credit card.
Let's move on, guys. Let's move on. We have our last segment today, our creep of the week. And this one is he or isn't he a creep of the week? And it's Randy Rainbow.
I'm so sad. I loved, am I allowed to say I love Randy Rainbow? Or do
you can say whatever you want. Yes, you can say that. Yes, you can. God.
I'm so sad. What did he do, Felicia? Why? Tell me why I'm not allowed to love my gay icon.
Apparently he had some horrible tweets a really long time ago that people said were, anti-trans, anti-black,
they were anti.
Yeah, and he's a gay Jew, so it's like, what he kind of said is kind of what we were talking about last time when he apologized, is that back then, it wasn't. Everyone was doing it, kind of a thing, which is kind of like getting back to like the Me Too movement and everything that's going on. It was socially acceptable standard behavior, and he apologized for it. And this is all getting to the cancel culture and political correctness. I don't know. Is he or isn't he?
Canceling for something he wrote a decade ago when it was normalized at the time is just really wrong. That's my opinion.
Well, for me, a person is canceled, how if they're canceled with me or not, is how they handle the revealing of what they did before. You know what I mean? So if he's just like,
stand by it, and I am.
He just said, look, I said some real ignorant stuff. And mind you, not to let myself off the hook, we were all saying some ignorant stuff, but I said it. I take ownership. It was wrong. I'm sorry.
And what
But after
person-
that,
what person that's racist that has a job that he wants is going to be like, oh yeah, I'm racist?
I know, like, I just kind of feel like, look, some of the stuff, there are things that I have revisited that I wrote for my sketch group 10 years ago when we first started, where I'm like, ooh, girl, you could not write that today. You could not. And thank God it didn't really go anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Because nobody knew who we were. But like, if suppose I was famous and it came out, I have to be like, I'm really sorry. That was foul. It was ignorant. Now I know better. Yeah. And then move on. But I feel like after that, no, don't beat up. You just beat a dead horse. Now you're just a mom after that.
Am I allowed to like Randy Rainbow, or do I have to apologize for liking Randy Rainbow?
I feel like you can like Randy Rainbow. Like, come on.
I like Randy Rainbow.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for this edition of Broadish. We're going to say goodbye. And in honor of Randy Rainbow, what color of the rainbow would you be?
Wait, what colors are there?
Oh, you don't know Roy G. Biv?
Yeah.
What education did you get, Jocelyn?
I got educated in the East.
Well, I'm going to say I'm red because I get angry.
I'm hot pink, always.
I'm
Not
yellow.
a color. That's not in the rainbow.
Oh, it's not? I'm so old.
Red, orange, yellow,
What kind of education
blue,
do you
indigo,
have?
violet. Roy G. Biv.
Violet.
I would be indigo because it sounds like Indian, and also nobody really knows what indigo is. So I want to do that.
I still don't know the colors.
Roy
They're all the colors, Jocelyn.
Red, orange, yellow, brown.
It's Roy G. Biv. This is harder than pronouncing Dhaya's last
Crazy.
name.
I can't get this. This is like, right?
Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet.
Oh,
Okay.
beautiful.
How did indigo and violet make it in, but not hot pink? Like, that seems a little... We got indigo. What about sassafras? Like, no, we're going to put indigo, but not hot pink? Like, girl, come on.
Sassafras is a flavor, not a color. I'm so sorry. You can't.
Not yet. I'm just kidding.
We got to add brown to that rainbow.
I thought brown was in the rainbow.
No.
So the B is for blue.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I heard you say brown as well.
Red.
I did. I said that because I didn't know.
You said brown.
Maybe I did say brown.
Felicia added brown because she's such an ally. She can't see any color unless brown is included. So
That's right.
Felicia's lying to me about the
I'm a
colors.
baby brown person, personally.
She added brown just to throw it in there. I appreciate that, though.
I appreciate Felicia also.
I appreciate that.
Okay, guys, signing off. See you next week.